For all the Jural Assemblies Part 37, the interface posted February 24, 2019 by Anna von Reitz. So we have studied the issue and meaning of lawful persons and two basic jurisdictions, soil, national, and land, international. We have seen that we have two kinds of states, republican states of the soil and international states of the land, both of which are unincorporated and geographically defined. We have also observed that these states are members of two unincorporated unions of states. The republican states are members of the United States. The land states are members of the United States of America. Both of these states are populated by people. When the people of the soil jurisdiction republican states operate their national jurisdiction as citizens of, for example, the Wisconsin Republic, they operate as natural persons. When the people of the republican states enter the international land jurisdiction of their state of the Union, they act as the people of their state, and as lawful persons. Lawful persons differ from legal persons. Lawful persons are connected to specific actual, factual, geographic and physical reality. Legal persons are fictional legal constructs devoid of such connection to physical fact. There is only one interface between lawful persons and legal persons, and that interface occurs in international jurisdiction. The international land jurisdiction is populated by lawful persons. The international sea jurisdiction is inhabited by legal persons. What happens when a lawful person crosses this invisible boundary and becomes a legal person is known as an unlawful conversion. What happens when a legal person crosses this same boundary in the opposite direction and becomes recognizable as a lawful person is known as a lawful conversion. When a lawful person crosses into the international jurisdiction of the sea and attacks legal persons already there, it is known as a transgression. And when the opposite occurs and a legal person crosses into the international jurisdiction of the land and attacks a lawful person, it is known as a trespass. Both can be considered errors worthy of forgiveness, or as crimes, depending on the acts and/or the expressed intention of the parties. When lawful persons transgress against legal persons, it most often results in obstruction of the business or other activities of the legal persons. When legal persons trespass against lawful persons, it most often results in inland piracy, conscription, kidnapping, press ganging or other crimes. For the purposes of the state Jural Assemblies, this interface is of special importance and deserves to be thoroughly understood. There is a barrier, or bar, involved that has to be properly manipulated, and it is analogous to the veil between life and death. This is the so-called corporate veil. Lawful persons are connected to life and physical actuality, but legal persons are not, so that lawful persons are metaphorically alive and legal persons are dead. Our lawful state governments, represented by both the United States and the United States of America, have treaties with the British monarch and the separate government of Westminster, as well as commercial service and trust agreements set forth in the respective territorial and municipal constitutions, that govern how Americans are supposed to be treated when we cross back and forth over this invisible barrier, this interface between lawful and legal. Specifically, the British monarch and the Papal Temple government of Westminster are to act as the trustees of our lawful persons when we venture over the bar. They are obligated to protect our national trust, which includes our natural and unalienable rights, and to aid and assist us on the high seas and navigable inland waterways, the international jurisdiction of the sea, and the global jurisdiction of the air commerce, in perpetuity. They have gotten around these obligations and the limitations of the constitutions by pretending that we have all knowingly contracted with them to work for them and their commercial corporations as unpaid volunteers, that is, under conditions of peonage and enslavement. This shameful breach of trust and legal chicanery based on unconscionable contracts with babies and undisclosed unilateral contracting processes taking place on the land and soil of our country is a part of what we now need to address. They have grossly trespassed against us and arbitrarily tried to redefine the living people and lawful persons of this country as chattel properties belonging to them and their commercial corporations, and they have gotten away with this fraud for many years undetected. Now comes the day of reckoning for 6 generations of venal fraud, but in order to make it stick, we must mind our P's and Q's and maintain our lawful standing as American state citizens, not U.S. citizens. We must take up our duties and run our sovereign states of the Union and reconstruct our federal states of states and put an end to the crass and despicable false claims in commerce that have been made against us. For now, know that when we, lawful persons, cross the interface and enter the international jurisdiction of the sea or the global jurisdiction of commerce and therefore function as legal persons on a temporary basis, we are owed safe conduct. For the time that we are conducting business in the international jurisdiction of the sea, we are considered to be foreign situs trusts under the protection of the British monarch's legal persons operating under the same proper name that we use as lawful persons, owed all the guarantees and protections of the territorial constitution. There is no visible difference between Mary Jane Ellis standing on the land and Mary Jane Ellis at sea. This is what FDR used to attempt to vacate our entire country and promote a national identity theft scheme of staggering proportions. For the time that we are conducting business in the global realm of commerce, that is, in the jurisdiction of the air, we are considered to be friends of the government of Westminster under the protection of the Pope. Instead, we have been deliberately and fraudulently misidentified as U.S. citizens, and U.S. citizens have never had any constitutional guarantees and have never had any treaty protections either. This identity theft, unlawfully converting our lawful persons, American state nationals and American state citizens, into legal persons, British territorial United States citizens and municipal citizens of the United States under false pretenses, has led to 6 generations worth of abuse of our states and our people and has allowed the British monarchs and the popes to prey upon us and cynically make false claims in commerce against our persons and our assets. It was all done accidentally on purpose, via manipulation of the bar, the interface between lawful persons and legal persons and their purposeful misidentification one for the other, so as to avoid treaty and contractual obligations. As American state citizens, you must thoroughly grasp the importance of your lawful person, your trade name, and the necessity of maintaining your trade name's permanent domicile on the land and soil of your state. As members of the state Jural Assembly and recognizably, one of the people of your state, you are the ones enabled to enforce the guarantees of the constitutions and also the ones responsible for upholding and enforcing the public law and running the people's courts we are all owed. It is a noble and necessary endeavor. It is also necessary to notice that your courts for natural persons, county courts, and lawful persons, state courts, are not the same as the nisi prius for higher courts that are presently sitting in your courthouses and doing business under the guise of state-of-state commercial contractors. The best way to understand this situation is to think of it as a baseball club from another town using your public ball field. These state-of-state courts don't belong to you, are not operating in your jurisdiction, and are foreign in all respects. They literally have nothing to do with you and need to be avoided and left alone to conduct their business with their citizenry. At all times, you must maintain your awareness of the interface between lawful and legal and know who you are with respect to this interface. You are American state citizens and lawful persons, one of the people of your state of the Union owed every jot of every treaty and every service contract. You own the land and soil of this country and you are home again. Please hit subscribe, like, share, embed, and get ready for many more Anna von Reitz article videos.